Living with my ruthless ex-husband. Chapter 6. Gary. Time runs so fast. The next thing I knew, I was here at the airport waiting for Nana Grace to arrive. She insisted that both of us should be the one to pick her up at the airport. After we settled everything in Cagayan, Lucas and I immediately went back to Manila together. He didn't leave until I'm with him. He stayed in the hotel for a couple of days while I'm biting my goodbyes to the people in the shop. I also finished all my pending works before leaving. Mercy is hesitant to let me leave at first, but she eventually understands the situation and lets me go with Lucas. Stop frowning, it doesn't suit you, I heard him say while we're standing in the arrival section waiting for Nana Grace. I glared at him for a while before rolling my eyes at him. Mind your own business, I snapped at him. You're so grumpy. Woke up at the wrong side of the bed. He chuckles while teasing me. I didn't bother to banter with him. I don't want to be agitated when Nana Grace arrived. I want to welcome her with the warmest greet I could offer, but I couldn't do that if I let Lucas get on my nerves. It didn't take long until Nana Grace finally arrived. Oh my two favorite people in the world. She both greeted us with a warm hug. I frown when I notice that she's walking briskly while pulling both of us in our hands. According to her, she can't wait to go home and lay on the bed. Your health seems to be doing well, Nana, I told her. As if on cue, she put her hands on her head and acted as if she was dizzy. Oh, now that you remind me, I think my chest is aching, she uttered. Your chest is aching but you're holding your head, Lucas commented. She quickly places her hand that was on her head to her chest. Are you faking your illness? Nana, irritation is obvious in his voice. You can't blame me. You didn't even bother to visit me in London. You are too busy with your work, she said while crossing her arms in front of her chest, looking away from Lucas. You didn't even bother to call, she said while completely pouting her lips. I couldn't help but giggle watching her. No one would dare lie to the great Lucas Sebastian Hargreaves. That makes both of you. She turned, pointing her finger at me. I was surprised when she turned and glared at me. I just chuckled upon seeing her face. Stop giggling, young lady. I will never forgive both of you for neglecting your Nana, she said, turning her back at us again. I even stand as your witness during your wedding and yet both of you didn't even bother to give me a call, she said. That is not enough reason to lie about your health, Nana. Don't you know how worried I was? He told Nana. I don't believe you're worried about me. You didn't even bother to take a minute and give me a call, she insisted. But Lucas was about to say something again when I held his arm to stop him and informed him to let me take care of it. I shake my head at him to tell him to stop. Let me to talk to her, which he agreed on by nodding his head. I hugged Nana Grace from the back with warmth and tenderness. I'm sorry for not visiting and calling you, Nana. Lucas has been very busy with the firm since Dad retired. But I promise to make it up to you while you're here, I told her. She turned around and faced me with a suppressed smile. That's a promise. She acts childish sometimes. She was already smiling by that time, but her face turns into a frown as she faces Lucas. You see, grandson, that's how you coax your grandmother, not by shouting at me, you insolent child, she said while trying to hit Lucas. You should learn from your wife, she said while continuing to strike him. Lucas keeps on ducking to avoid Nana Grace's assault. I still feel strange to hear Nana Grace refer to me as Lucas' wife. I'm not his wife anymore. We are only here to pretend. Nothing more, nothing less. It took us half an hour before we finally arrived at Lucas' house. We were greeted by the maids and the guard as expected, but I was not expecting a familiar face inside the house. The woman was sitting on the couch while sipping the juice. She quickly stood up and greeted us when we entered the living room. "Welcome back, Nana Grace." She ecstatically greeted Nana Grace. Nana is somehow taken aback by her greetings. "Do I know you, young lady?" Nana Grace confusedly said. "I am Sandy, Lucas' colleague. I heard about your arrival today. That's why I decided to offer you a welcome gift," she said while smiling from ear to ear. I almost want to puke seeing her face. She even had the gut to show her face in front of me. I want to reap those fake smiles out of her face. She didn't even bother greeting me. Not that I want her greeting. She even acts as if I was not there. She keeps on mumbling about her and Lucas at the office. That's nice to hear. Would you excuse me for a second? I think I exhaust myself from my trip. Nana Grace cut her off from her continued mumbling. Of course, Nana. You should rest. Would you like me to help you go to your room? Sandy offered. No need. I'll assist her. I interrupted her. I can almost hear her protest, but I didn't give her any chance to do that. I lead Nana Grace up to her room. The maids started to bring all Nana's suitcase. I was gritting my teeth while trying to hold my temper. How dare that man bring his mistress inside our house? This is not your house anymore. I can almost hear myself saying, "That's right. I shouldn't be feeling this way. I have no right to get mad at him for bringing that woman here. He already told me that Sandy is okay with this setup, but I don't know if I can handle seeing them both here. Are you okay?" I heard Nana Grace told me. I didn't notice that I was lost in my reverie. I almost forgot that Nana is beside me. I suddenly felt guilty for not trying to reach out to her. Since we came back here in Manila after our marriage in London, I haven't tried to contact her even once. I was lost in trying to fit myself into Lucas' world and how to be a perfect daughter-in-law to his parents. I was trying to be the perfect woman for Lucas and eventually lose myself in the process. Nana Grace is the only one who believes in me, that I'm a perfect match for Lucas. I'm okay, Nana. Why wouldn't I be? I answered, trying to hide the pain inside me. You don't have to come with me to my room. I know where my room is. I lived here for 50 years before going to London, she jokingly said. I know, Nana, but I want to spend more time with you. Didn't I tell you that I would make it up to you? I said, trying to sway our conversation. I felt guilty for not reaching out to you after the D. I immediately stopped before I even finished the word. After what she frowned at me. After we went back here in the Philippines, I stuttered. She was looking at me intently, trying to read if I was telling the truth or not. I was holding my breath while waiting for her to finally speak. It's fine. I know you two are busy with your own life. I felt lonely abroad. That's why I decided to go back here, she finally said. I let out a sigh of relief when she didn't figure out that I was lying. But regardless of how much you missed me, you shouldn't let your husband be alone with another woman. Your husband is a very gorgeous man and a good catch, she said while wiggling her eyebrows. You should never let your guard down and always look after your husband, she warned me. I almost rolled my eyes at what she said. If she only knew. His grandson was already swayed, but that BTCH. What are you still doing here? I heard her say, which made me snap from my deep thought. Doing what? Nana, I was confused. Why are you still here and not with your husband? Come on, go, she said while shooing me away. I still want to spend more time with you, I said to her while pouting my lips. I was trying to be cute so she won't insist on making me leave her room. I'm not ready to face Lucas and the BTCH. No, 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 young lady. Go to your husband and snatch him back from that woman, she said. It sounds to me that she knows that Lucas and Sandy are already a thing. But I know that it's impossible. You really don't want me to stay with you even longer, I told her while trying to make puppy eyes towards her. This old lady needs to rest and I can't do that if you're here messing around. Now, off you go, she said while trying to push me out of her room. She quickly slammed the door the moment I stepped out of her room. I have nothing left to do, that's why I decided to look for Lucas. I need to talk to him about the situation. Since Nana Grace is not sick, we don't have any reason not to tell Nana about our divorce. She deserves to know the truth. I don't know if he's with the BTCH Sandy, but I tried my luck and went to his room. This is the room that we used to share when we are still together, and it's the same room that I'm going to use while staying here. I don't see the need to knock since I was using this room. I abruptly opened the door and was shocked to see Lucas sitting on the bed. Sandy is straddling in front of him while they are sucking each other's tongue. Lucas' shirt is unbuttoned and Sandy's dress is up, almost revealing her butt. They turned around at once when they heard me opening the door. All of us were shocked by my sudden interruption. Lucas quickly got up and Sandy almost fell on the ground. I cleared my throat before speaking. I need to talk to you. I'll be in your study room. Follow me when you're done, I blandly said before turning my back from them. I briskly walked towards the study room. I quickly closed the door and sat down on the couch. I slumped myself on the couch and buried my face in the pillow. I don't know why I feel frustrated. I just do. I was actually expecting him to follow me after an hour, but I was surprised when I saw him enter the room. I quickly stood up and faced him. I was trying my best not to give away any emotions. I want him to think that what I saw didn't bother me at all. This is not urgent. You can finish whatever both of you are doing. I can wait here, I told him. It's not what you think, he explained. I gritted my teeth when I heard me denying what I saw. How dare him to think that he can make a fool out of me. I know what I saw and he doesn't need to explain. We were just... He's trying to explain it even more, but I abruptly cut him off. No need to explain. I don't want to hear it. Besides, I don't care what you do with your mistress, I told him, trying to maintain my straight face. I'm not here for you. I'm here for Nana Grace, and since she's doing fine, I don't think you need further assistance. If this is about what you saw a while ago, this is not about you, Lucas. This is not about us. I'm here to help you with Nana, and I think my purpose here is done. I don't see any reason for me to stay here. I couldn't help but raised my voice at him. Since you're so eager to leave, why don't you go ahead and tell her yourself? I can sense that I'm starting to get on his nerves. Why are you putting that responsibility on my shoulder? It should be your duty to tell her the truth, Lucas, I shouted at him. Is it too much for you to stay here a little longer? Why are you so eager to go back to that place? Do you have someone waiting for you there? He shouted back. My God, Lucas, are you hearing yourself? This is not about me. Stop running around the bush and tell Nana about our divorce. What divorce? We were interrupted by a voice coming from the door. We both turned at once in that direction. Both of our eyes widened when we saw Nana Grace standing beneath the open door. We were both stunned and unable to speak. Nana. Lucas tried to call her grandmother, but we were shocked when she suddenly fell to the floor. Chapter 7. Gary. She's okay for now. Fortunately, it wasn't a heart attack, Magnus explained. But that doesn't mean that there will be no more episodes like this in the future. She fainted due to shock and exhaustion, he continued. We are here at De La Vega Medical Center. Nana Grace faints after she barges into our room and sees us fighting. We are all standing around Nana's bed. I was on the right side and Lucas is on the other side with Sandy. Magnus is the doctor who was a friend of Lucas. He was about to talk to Magnus before this incident happened. He wants Magnus to personally monitor Nana's health. Is she going to be okay? Lucas asked. She will, but you need to take this seriously. Her heart is already weak due to her age and she will definitely can't handle anything that will break her heart, Magnus explained. I suggest that you refrain from giving her a heavy heart. I was holding Nana's hand when she started to move and slowly opened her eyes. Where am I? She weakly said. You're in the hospital, Nana answered. Let's go home. I don't want to be here, she said while struggling to sit up. Don't exert yourself, Nana. Stay here for a while until your condition is stable, I pleaded with her while trying to lay her down again. Please, Nana, we are all worried about your health. Let Magnus take care of you for a couple more days, Lucas insisted. I don't want to talk to you, both you, she said without looking at Lucas. We were all shocked by her treatment towards us. Stop calling me Nana. You and Lucas are getting a divorce. You don't have to call me that. And then she discarded my hand that was holding hers. Nana, please, Lucas pleaded. She is still trying to get up and move from the bed. Lucas and I are trying our best to stop her. She was weak, so it isn't much of a struggle. Nana, you need to stay here so you can get the proper medication, I insisted. No need. I'm ready to leave and be with my husband, she protested. Nana, we both said at once. She just crossed her arms in front of her chest and turned her face away from us. I heard Lucas let out a loud sigh before speaking. We're not getting a divorce, Nana, Lucas said. Someone cleared his throat, which caught our attention. We almost forgot there are other people in the room other than us. I think we should head outside, so you can talk privately, Magnus said. He might have felt uncomfortable in the situation because he already knows that Lucas and I are already separated. I don't know if Magnus knows about the proposition that Lucas and I talked about, but upon seeing his reaction he might have had an idea. We just nodded at him in agreement with what he said. I wasn't expecting what he did next. He grabbed Sandy's arm and brought her with him. I suppressed my smile when I saw Sandy protesting. She obviously doesn't want to go out. This is a family matter, miss. I think you are not needed here, Magnus said, which agitated Sandy even more. She was about to shout at Magnus when Lucas interrupted her and whispered something which made her calm. She eventually went with Magnus and went outside the room. Lucas let out a loud sigh when they finally closed the door. We're not getting a divorce, Nana. We are just fighting, and that is normal for a married couple, Lucas started. Don't think about it too much. It won't do you any good, Lucas said while looking at his grandmother with tenderness. I can see how he loved his grandmother. He was always soft and tender when it comes to her. Are you sure? That's not what I heard, she insisted. We're not getting a divorce, Nana, Lucas said with finality. Is that true, Gary? She asked me for confirmation. Why, yes, Nana. We won't, I stuttered upon answering her. I suddenly felt guilty lying to Lucas' grandmother. I'm not really good at lying, that's why I'm not sure if I can pull this off. I'm glad to hear that. It really breaks my heart hearing that both of you are talking about divorce, she said. What might be the problem? She added. I was looking for the right word to say when Lucas interrupted. Gary wants to leave, but I didn't let her. Nana, I can't be away from her for too long, Lucas said while looking at me intently. His gaze makes me uncomfortable. I turn my eyes away from him. I can't handle the intensity of gaze. Then what about the divorce that I heard last night? She asked. We just had a fight, Nana, like a normal couple. It was a spur of the moment. We didn't really mean it, Lucas added. That was the only time that Nana felt relieved. It may really take a toll on her if we told her that Lucas and I are already separated. I can still remember back in London, how she wished that we are going to grow old together just like they did with her husband. Back then, I'm also wishing the same. I wanted to spend the rest of my life with Lucas, but I didn't know that I will eventually lose myself in the process of proving my worth for him. He didn't ask anything from me, but I want to be the best that I can be so Lucas can be proud of me. I have no wealth to take pride in. All I have that time is my undying love for Lucas. Gary, Nana called me. I didn't notice that I was lost in my deep thoughts again. Why yes, Nana, are you saying something? I asked. Are you okay, my child? You don't seem okay, she asked, bothered. I'm fine, Nana. I'm just thinking about something. You're saying something? I inquired. I couldn't help but feel his intense glare towards me. I don't seem to remember that I said something wrong for him to be mad at me. I tried to look at him to read his face, but I was just greeted with his dark and frowning face. I tried to ignore him and focus all my attention on Nana, thinking about something or someone, maybe, he said, cocking his head to the side. I was about to scowl at him when Nana suddenly spoke. I was just telling Lucas about going for a vacation. I can't remember when was the last time I went to the beach. What do you think? That would be great. Me, too. I can't remember when was the last time I went to the beach. I'm sure we're going to have some fun, I answered, feeling excited about it. So, when are we leaving Lucas? Nana asked him. I don't think Lucas can leave the firm. Nana, why don't we go together, just the two of us? I suggested. No need, I can make some arrangements. I can make it work. I'll just have to settle everything before we go, he said. That's perfect. I really wanted to go with you too. I'm already excited. I have so much going on with mind, she said giddily. I couldn't help but smile watching her face full of excitement. Slow down, old lady. You need to take some rest and get well before we proceed with your plans, Lucas teased. Who are you calling old lady, you insolent child? She said before throwing the pillow to Lucas. Lucas burst into laughter watching her grandmother getting pissed at him. I didn't notice that I was already laughing watching both of them wrestling with each other. Nana Grace is trying her best to reach for Lucas so she can give him a beating. Lucas keeps on teasing her by trying to kiss her on the cheeks. Nana tried her best to avoid Lucas' kisses. She still acts as if she's still mad at Lucas. It didn't take long before Nana Grace gave in and gave Lucas a warm big hug. It felt so nice looking at them. It brings me back to the time where Lucas and I spent the first few months of our marriage in London with Nana. The room was filled with laughter and squealing. I think Nana is already feeling well since she already has the energy to fight with Lucas. We were interrupted when someone opened the door. We all turned at once only to see that Sandy at the door. I looked at Lucas and he was stunned, unable to figure out what to do next. Nana is throwing questioning looks to Lucas. Nana is not stupid not to notice that something is going on between those two. Sandy shamelessly walks towards us, squeezed herself between me and Nana's bed. I don't want to cause a scene, that's why I decided to back off and let her go near Nana. I slowly walked towards the sofa that was inside the room and sat for a while. I suddenly felt exhausted. "How are you, Nana?" she started. "I'm fine." "Yeah, what was your name again?" Nana asked. "I'm Sandy Fordes, Lucas' colleague. I'm one of the lawyers in his firm." Sandy introduced herself again. I rolled my eyes upon hearing her squeaky voice. How did this woman become a lawyer? I thought you needed brains for you to finish law school. I doubt she even had one. I guess she just uses her money to finish law school. I was throwing daggers at her back. I can't really stand being in the same room with her. If not for Nana Grace, I won't stay here even for a second. I felt a pair of eyes were staring at me. I looked at his direction only to be greeted by his deep set of green eyes that were sinking into my soul. There's a small smile playing at his mouth. I bet he saw me throwing daggers at his girlfriend. I rolled my eyes at him and shifted my eyes away from his. Sandy's constant mumbling and boasting about herself and how accomplished she is makes my ears sore. She just stopped talking when Lucas cut her off. "I think that's enough for the day. My grandmother needs to rest. Let's go, Sandy. I'll bring you home," I heard Lucas said. I don't want them to notice that what Lucas said affected me. I feel deeply bothered by the thought of them leaving alone in the car and probably alone in her house. Get a hold of yourself, Gary. Yes, that's right. I shouldn't be affected by anything that regards Lucas and his personal life. I don't have the right to feel this way. I can't let Lucas hurt me the way he did before. I've moved on. I shouldn't feel this way. Oh, too bad. I want to spend more time with you, Nana. Don't worry, I will come back tomorrow first thing in the morning, Sandy said. She can't hide her excitement. She's really trying hard to please Nana. Don't bother, I whispered. What? She turned and faced me, asking me what I said. I didn't notice that I quite said those words aloud. I'm just saying that you don't have to do that. I'm sure you're busy with your work and other stuff, I reasoned out. Yeah, I'm kind of busy being a career and well-established woman, but I can make time for you, Nana, she insisted. I'm not sure if she's trying to point something, but I guess she's referring to me. I'm not a career woman like her. That's always been my insecurities and maybe the main reason why I always point my jealousy towards her. Back in the day, she's the perfect example of what I thought would be perfect for Lucas. A well-educated career woman who came from a wealthy family, unlike me, who has nothing but debt and worn-out clothes. That's enough, Sandy. Let's go. Lucas' loud voice is the one who brought me up to my deep thoughts before I sank myself in the depth of my self-pity. Okay, fine. Bye, Nana. See you tomorrow. Thank you for visiting me. Yeah. They bid their goodbyes before Lucas and Sandy finally went out. There was a moment of silence when we finally left alone. You didn't even object when he offered to send her home, Nana breaks the silence. I took a deep breath before talking to her. Lucas is old enough to know what he's doing, Nana, that's all I can tell her. And you're old enough to know that you shouldn't let your husband be with another woman. Even more, let him drive that woman home, she said, scolding me. Well, what can I say? I don't really have much of a choice. I chose to be silent. I don't want to lie to her anymore. Gary, I'm no fool to see that something wrong is going on between the two of you. You should start doing something about it before it's too late. she said. Of course, only blind won't see that something is wrong with us. But I think Nana still has no idea that it's too late for me to do something about it because we're already divorced. I just hope that she can accept it when she finally knows the truth. Chapter 8. Gary, are you sure it's okay for Lucas that you spent the night here at the hospital? Nana asked me while I was fixing all her things into the bag. Lucas' parents are still overseas. They wanted to go home immediately when they heard about what happened to Nana Grace, but Lucas assured them that Nana is doing fine and they don't need to cut their vacation short. Lucas' parents had been nothing but good to me and I couldn't wait to see them. It's been 2 days since Nana fainted. She spends another 2 days in the hospital because Lucas insisted that Nana should stay at the hospital for a couple more days so Magnus can check up on her. Lucas wanted to make sure that Nana was already fit to go home. This is her last day here and I'm already preparing all of our things. We are just waiting for Magnus to give us our discharge slip before we can go home. I insisted on staying here with Nana instead of going home. I don't see any reason for me to spend the night there, especially that the only reason why I'm staying there is here at the hospital. Nana keeps on asking me if this was okay to Lucas. Why wouldn't he be? At least he could have more time with his girlfriend. I'm sure it's fine, Nana answered. Did he tell you that? I was stunned by her query. He doesn't need to tell me that. I know for sure that he likes it better this way. Nana, Lucas has been very busy with the firm. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me spending the nights here. You spend 2 straight nights here and it's okay with him, she said, frowning. I was about to open my mouth to come up with some explanation when we heard a familiar voice. Of course, it's not okay with me, Nana. You kept my wife from me for 2 days and you have to pay for it. If I did not love you, I wouldn't let you steal my wife away from me, he jokingly said when he entered the room. He was flashing his $1,000,000 smile while walking towards me. I almost jumped when he grabbed my waist and placed a swift kiss on my lips. My eyes widened due to that unexpected kiss. Hey hon, are you okay? He asked me while looking me in the eyes. That was his endearment for me when we're still together. I suddenly missed how he used to call me that. I was lost in his gaze and I couldn't find my voice to speak. His face that was inches away from mine and his arms that were wrapped around my body doesn't help either. I cleared my throat trying to remove the lump from it, hoping I can finally find the courage to speak, but no luck. I'm still out for words. Look at you two, such a lovely couple, Nana said as we both turned our face at once. I quickly pushed Lucas and tried to get away from his arms, but he didn't let me. I awkwardly smiled at him and tried to whisper so Nana won't hear a thing. Let go of me, I told him in between my smile. Cooperated with me, my dear ex-wife, or Nana would notice, he said, smiling at me. He placed another quick kiss on my lips before he finally let go of me. I wanted to shout at him for doing that, but I know I can't do that in front of Nana. But I wanted to do something to get back at him. I sneaked my hand to his back and pinched him as hard as possible. I almost laughed at his reaction. I can see that he's hurting, but he's not trying to make it obvious or Nana will notice. He widens his eyes at me, threatening me. I just rolled my eyes at him and walked past him. Are you ready, Nana? I asked her. I saw her frowning while looking at us. It seems that she's observing us since Lucas arrived. I just hope that she didn't notice me being awkward with that kiss. Are you guys ready? Magnus greeted. He went inside the room to bring the discharge slip and leave some reminders regarding Nana's health. I already arranged all the expenses. I'll just send the bill to your firm, Lucas, he said. Quotation mark. Thus, Sancho knows that you are letting your patient leave without payment, Lucas asked. Sancho is the heir to the De La Vega chain of hospitals. He's currently in Italy right now. The last time I heard from him was when we were still in London and I'm still married to Lucas. No, he won't mind that. Besides, if it's for a beautiful woman like Gary, it's worth the trouble. Magnus flirts and reaches my hand trying to plant a kiss. Stop flirting with my wife, Lucas said while gritting his teeth. He then grabbed my hand from Magnus. Okay, fine. I'll stop flirting with your wife, he said, raising both of his hands as a sign of defeat. His last word didn't escape my ear. He's teasing Lucas and that is not good. I can see how his jaw tightened while trying to control himself. That's enough, both of you, Nana butt in. And why are you not greeting your Nana properly, you little rascal? She said, referring to Magnus. The first time that Magnus was here, Nana Grace was still weak and there's tension regarding what happened at the house. That's why they didn't have time to greet each other properly. Lucas and Magnus are childhood friends and they both used to stay with Nana when they were kids, especially when Magnus' parents were in constant fights. I missed you too, Nana, Magnus said before giving Nana a warm hug. You are just like Lucas. Both of you kept on saying you missed me but none of you bothered to visit me, she said while hitting Magnus' arms. Magnus just keeps on ducking, trying to defend himself from Nana's beating. I was smiling watching them when I felt a pair of eyes staring at me. I shift my gaze towards him only to be greeted by his intense gaze. Nothing. I just can't remember when was the last time I saw you smiling like this. I kinda miss it, he said with a serious face. I don't know what to answer him. I used to be this bubbly and full of energy but everything changed when I entered Lucas' life. I don't want to blame him for what happened because somehow I know that it's both our fault why our marriage failed. Marriage is a two-way street. If there's a crash and you just let it stay on the way, it will cause traffic jams. It will become stagnant until the problem becomes unsolvable anymore. Just don't forget to remind Nana to take her medicine and don't give her a headache, will you? Magnus caught our attention. I didn't answer him since I thought that he was referring to Lucas. I was talking to both of you, he added. I just rolled my eyes at him. Magnus has become one of my close friends since my marriage with Lucas. He's the only one available at that time that I can always count on whenever we are having problems. I cut all my connections with him when we separated. I'm glad that he understands it. I will not hold you any longer. Come on, off you go, Magnus said. We bid our goodbyes and thanks to him before we went out of the room. A nurse assists us with Nana's wheelchair while Lucas is carrying some of Nana's bags. He offered on carrying mine but I refused. No one tried to talk while we're riding the elevator going to the parking area where his car is located. We reached the parking space. There's a black car waiting for us. I was having second thoughts if I would sit on the front passenger seat or at the back, but it didn't take long before I realized that I don't need to choose. I don't have a choice. How are you, Nana? Are you feeling good already? Sandy cheerfully greeted Nana. She was sitting in the passenger seat beside the driver. She rolled down the window to greet us. It didn't miss my sight when she smirked when her eyes landed on me. I wanted to reap that smug look in her face. I'm feeling better now. Yeah, I see that you troubled yourself to come all the way here, Nana kindly said. You shouldn't have done that. I don't want to cause you trouble. It's fine, Nana. What's important to Lucas is important to me, she said shamelessly while batting her eyelashes to Lucas. The nerve of this woman. I keep on throwing daggers toward Lucas. I saw him gulp when he looked in my direction and met my eyes. I decided to let it BTCH and don't let myself be affected by them. They can do whatever the hell I care. The nurses gently put Nana at the back. I went inside the back seat and sat beside Nana. I can sense Nana's questioning looks towards me, but I'm not really in the mood to lie to her. I'll explain it later when I finally calm down. After half an hour, we finally arrived at Lucas' house. I frowned when I saw an unfamiliar car parked outside Lucas' house. I tried to ignore it and focus my attention on helping Nana. It wasn't long enough when I noticed a couple of suitcases that were placed in the middle of the living room when we got inside the house. Whose suitcase is that? Nana asked. That's mine, Nana. I decided to stay here with you while you're here so we can spend more time together and get to know each other, she said in glee. Yeah, you don't have to do that. Yeah, I'm sure you have more important things better to do. Please, don't bother yourself with my presence, Nana said, unsure of what to react to Sandy's announcement. I don't mind, Nana. It's my pleasure spending time with you, she said cheerfully, acting as if no one else is there. I can't believe that she even used Nana as an excuse so she can spend time here at Lucas' house. I wonder if he knows about it. This is more than what I bargained for. This is not what we agreed on. I'm trying my best to control myself so I won't grab the hair of this BTCH and mop on the floor. Oh, okay, if you say so. Gary, will you please assist me to my room? I heard Nana say. I immediately led her to her room, together with the nurse that Magnus recommended taking care of Nana. I don't want to spend more time here with those two. They only make my blood boil. Are you okay with that? Yeah, Nana asked. I quickly looked at her. I stared at her for a couple of minutes, finding the right words to say. I can't tell her it's okay because no wife in their right mind would let another woman sleep in their house. I trust Lucas, Nana. I shouldn't bother myself with that matter. Lucas knows what he's doing, I answered, hoping that she would accept my explanation. He's still a man, Gary, Nana added. I know, Nana, but even if I guard Lucas with his every move, if he wants to cheat, he will cheat. Nana just stared at me and kept silent. She gave me an assuring look before speaking. I hope you can still fix it, Nana said. I frowned upon hearing what she said. I wanted to ask her more, but I was afraid to know the truth behind her cryptic words. I smiled at her before laying her down on the bed. You need to rest, Nana. Nurse Jenny will be the one to take care of you. I'll be in the other room. Just call me if you need anything, I told her while pulling the blanket up to her chest. I kissed her forehead before heading outside. I suddenly remembered about the fact that Sandy will stay here in the house with us. Anger slowly started to crawl up on me. How dare him to bring that BTCH her while he's with me. I walked towards her room so I could take a rest, but I was greeted by Lucas' face back and forth in the middle of the room. He almost jumped when I opened the door. His eyes widened when he saw my dark face. I didn't try to hide my anger towards him. I want him to know that I don't like this setup. I closed the door and crossed my arms in front of my chest while tapping my toes on the floor, waiting for him to speak. I felt some kind of power when I saw how nervous he was. I raised my eyebrows at him when he didn't start talking. Care to explain? I started when he didn't speak. I didn't want this, but she insisted, he said. And you can't do anything about it. I said, still raising my eyebrows at him. I want him to see how pissed I am. I'm not really sure which one I am more pissed at. That he let his mistress stays here, or the fact that they didn't even try to hide from his relationship with it. BTCH. It makes me remember all the time that I accused him of cheating on me with that woman. He keeps on denying it that time, but looks where we are now. She threatened me that she will tell Nana the truth about us if I won't let her stay here. He said apologetically, I didn't know you for a coward. I scoffed. I don't have much of a choice. I won't risk Nana's health. She's not going to cause any problem, he uttered. Well, I might. I won't promise that I will be good to your mistress. Tell her to get out of my way. I told him before I turned my back on him and walked towards the closet. Stop calling her that, I heard him say. It wasn't loud, but it is loud enough for me to hear it. Why not? Isn't she one? I scoffed. She's not my mistress, he pointed out. Really? Is she now? I said, rolling my eyes at him. She's not my mistress because we're not married anymore. God damn it, he shouted. I was stunned by his screaming. Those words sent daggers right through my heart. It was as if my whole being was shattered into pieces. He's right. I shouldn't be acting this way. We're not a couple anymore. I don't have any right to feel this way. I took a deep breath before speaking. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I was out of line. That's all I said before walking past him and head out of the room. I could still hear him calling my name, but I didn't bother to turn around. I walked briskly towards the room that I used to go into whenever I'm having troubles or when we're having a fight. Back then, I don't think Lucas knows about it even until now. I started to feel the stream of tears running down my cheeks. I quickly wiped it away. I don't want to shed any more tears for Lucas. He isn't worth it. But I can't help myself. It was as if my tears have a mind of their own. I spent my whole afternoon in that room. I didn't notice that I had already fallen asleep while crying. Chapter 9. Gary. The sun was almost set when I decided to move out of the room. I haven't eaten anything since morning. That's why my stomach is now starting to grumble. I was walking past the hallway when I bumped into one of the maids who was walking in a hurry. Sus Mariasip, she said using a popular Filipino expression. We've been looking for you for a while now. You've been missing for 6 hours. Where have you been? Miranda said, the middle-aged woman who has been working with Lucas' family ages ago. I'm sorry, Manon. I've fallen asleep and lost track of the time, I told her. Why? What happened? I curiously asked. The whole house was in turmoil and Sir Lucas was furious. He keeps on nagging everyone to come and find you, Manon Miranda explained. I gave her an apologetic look for causing trouble. I let her be on her way and continue her job. I volunteered that I'll tell everyone that I'm okay. I went to the living room and I found all the maids lining in one while Lucas kept on shouting at them. Nana, Grace and Sandy are also there, but they can't do anything to calm him down. How the FCK did she go out and not a single one of you notice? Are you all blind? Lucas screamed at them. What's going on? I interrupted. They all turned in my direction at once. Most of them let out a sigh of relief. Lucas is the last one to face me and I almost crumbled into my feet when I saw how mad he was. I can sense his anger radiating all over the area. I gulped, trying to calm myself as I started to get nervous. Where the hell did you go? We were all looking for you, he shouted at me. I lost track of the time. I was just resting upstairs, I explained. What room? We turned the whole house upside down and we didn't get to see you, he said, feeling agitated. If you just go up on the third floor you would find me there, I said, rolling my eyes and crossing my arms in front of my chest. Wait a minute, why are you making it a big deal? So, what if I leave your house? Am I a prisoner here? This time he was the one who was stunned by my question. Instead of answering me, he turned his face towards the maids and told them to continue with whatever they're supposed to do before looking at me. I even heard Sandy snort before murmuring something. Attention seeker. That didn't escape my ears. I glared at her and was ready to pick a fight when I heard Lucas' loud voice. I think I need to take some rest now. I'm glad that you're okay, Gary, Nana said before standing up. I'll send you to your room, Nana, I offered. No, Sandy can take Nana to her room, he said with conviction. You, stay here. We need to talk, he said. But I heard Sandy's protest. He glared at her and she instantly got the message across. She follows Nana Grace while stomping her feet. I felt the ambience become tense when I realized that there's only the two of us that were left there. I cleared my throat before facing him. I saw him looking intensely at me and I couldn't help but feel uncomfortable. You don't have to launch a search party, I jokingly said just to clear the awkwardness. He didn't speak. Instead, he grabbed my arm and dragged me towards our room. He abruptly opened the door then slammed it after we got inside. You think this is funny, Gary? You think this is a game? He said, grabbing both of my upper arms. Don't you think you're overreacting? I asked him, frowning. I don't understand why he's acting this way. It's as if he's afraid of something or someone. Overreacting? No, Gary. If I'm overreacting, the police and the armies are probably here by now, he said while his grip on my upper arms started to tighten even more. I am sorry, I stuttered while trying to get away from his grip. My upper arms are starting to get numb and I feel like his fingers are buried into my skin. He noticed my discomfort, that's why he started to loosen his grip and eventually let me go. I don't know why he's acting this way. This is the first time that I saw him this worried. You don't know how many enemies I made this past few years, Gary. Who knows what they are planning nowadays, he said after turning his back around. I can see his frustration is getting bigger and bigger as moments go by. It was as if he has this irrational fear of something that I couldn't comprehend. Well, if you think about it, you don't have to worry about me. I'm sure that if they want to get back at you, I will be the least target, I jokingly said, trying to lighten the mood. He turned his face at me and said, you don't know that, while looking straight to my eyes. I suddenly felt an unfamiliar feeling because of his intense gaze. I somehow felt that he wanted to say something more, but there's another factor that's stopping him from doing that. The warmth of his gaze suddenly engulfed my whole body. You should get some rest, he said, breaking the silence that started to engulf the whole room. Oh, okay, I agreed, but I don't think I can sleep immediately since I just woke up. As if on cue, my stomach started to grumble. I shut my eyes hard, hoping that he didn't hear my stomach rumbling. I slowly opened my eyes, praying that he already left, but I was greeted by his frowning face. I'll just grab and make a sandwich in the kitchen, I said before walking briskly towards the door. But before I even took 2 more steps, he quickly grabbed my hand and led me to the door. Come on, let's go, I heard him say. I can go on my own, I said while trying to take my hand from him, but he tightened his grip even more. I haven't had my dinner too. You can also make a sandwich for me, he said before walking towards the kitchen while still holding my hand. There's no use in resisting since he doesn't have any plans of letting me go. We quietly walked towards the kitchen silently. He finally let go of my hands when we arrived in the kitchen so I could move freely. I carefully moved towards the raft to look for something to eat. I was thinking of making a chicken sandwich, but that will take too long to make. I turned to him before asking, "Is bacon sandwich okay with you?" That would be fine, he answered while sitting on the chair in front of the center island that was right behind the sink where I am preparing the ingredients. I take out the bacon, some lettuces, and eggs from the refrigerator. I can sense that he's watching my every move, and it really makes me conscious. I tried my best to focus my attention on what I'm doing and ignore his presence. I opened the stove and put the pan before putting some oil on it. "Do you need my help?" I almost jumped when I felt his warm breath against my ear. "Don't startle me like that," I snapped at him before hitting his chest. He just chuckled in response. "I'm not doing anything," he denied. I rolled my eyes at him and ordered him to go back on his seat. "Watching you move freely around my kitchen is tempting, but I want to help," he insisted. "Fine, crack the egg and start beating it," I ordered him. "Aye, boss," he jokingly replied. I rolled my eyes at him while trying to hide my smile. I couldn't help but enjoy these little moments with him. I can't remember the last time we spent our time in the kitchen together. He's been very busy since we came back from London after our marriage. "This is done. What should I do next?" he said, dragging me back from my reverie. "That's enough. You should sit down while I fry the bacon and egg," I told him, trying to avoid his gaze. "But I want to help," he said, pouting like a child. I couldn't help but smile at his sudden quirkiness. "Fine. You can fry the bacon and eggs while I prepare the sandwich," I told him. I was about to get the bread that was sitting on top of the island counter when he suddenly moved in my way, which results in me bumping into his hard chest. I bumped so hard that I almost tripped myself, but his hand quickly wrapped around my waist and grabbed so I won't fall. "Careful," he softly said while our faces are inches away from each other. My hands fell on his hard chest. I can smell his minty breath. I gulped when my eyes fell into his luscious lips. My throat suddenly felt dry and I unconsciously licked my lips while staring at his. I suddenly felt the urge to kiss him, but I tried to resist myself. Thank you," I replied before pushing him away from me. My eyes widened when he didn't let go of me. Instead, he even tightened his arms around my waist. I saw his eyes slowly travel from my eyes down to my nose before it finally settled on my lips. I gulped when I saw the intensity in his eyes. I was about to protest when he did the unexpected. He claimed my lips, which surely took me by surprise. My eyes widened as I was feeling his lips touching mine. It didn't take long before I gave in to my heart's desire. I slowly closed my eyes and started to savor the taste of his lips against mine. My hands started to cling on his neck as I started to open my mouth to him. I already submitted myself to him. I let him guide me to whatever it is that he wanted to do. His lips started moving wildly and his tongue started to wander inside my mouth. A soft moan escaped my lips when I felt his tongue went inside my mouth. I clung to his neck, even more, to support myself because my legs started to feel numb. His other hand started to travel from my waist up to my breast. I moaned against his mouth when I felt his hand landed on my breast and squeezed it lightly. I'm starting to feel his growing bulge against my stomach. He scooped me up in the air and put me on the island counter without breaking our lips. He started unbuttoning my shirt while his lips are starting to travel down to my neck up to the valley of my breast. My eyes are closed and I don't want to open it, afraid that all these sensations were nothing but a product of my imagination. My buttons are down, exposing my full breast. I can see the pure lust and passion in his eyes while looking at my breast. Lovely, I heard him say before bringing back his mouth to my exposed mound. We were both enjoying each other's bodies when we were interrupted by thick smoke and the sudden sound of the alarm. The smell of the burning eggs was all over the kitchen. I quickly pushed him away and jumped from the counter to turn off the stove. Lucas, on the other hand, quickly turned off the alarm and turned on the exhaust fan to lessen the thick layer of smoke that was all around the kitchen. The guards and maids quickly ran to the kitchen when they heard the alarm. "Is everything okay?" Manon Miranda asked when she saw us in the kitchen. "Why, yes, we're fine. I'm sorry for disturbing you," I said, turning my back on them so I can fix my clothes. "You can go back to sleep. We can manage here," I heard Lucas said, dismissing the others. I was glad that Sandy and Nana weren't woken up by the alarm. I can't imagine the awkwardness if it happens. I didn't bother looking at them. I focused my attention on cleaning up the burnt egg from the pan. I was also trying my best not to make contact with Lucas. I don't know how to face him after what happened a while ago. I don't know where we are leading to if the alarm didn't go off. We are practically making out on top of the island counter. "Let me help you with that," I heard him say behind my back. I didn't bother to turn around and continued fixing the pan so I could continue cooking. I felt him lean towards me when I didn't answer him. Both of his hands were leaning on the sink where I am standing. I was not imprisoned in between his arms. My heart almost jumped out of my rib cage when I felt his warm breath against my nape. "Are you trying to ignore me?" he teased. I can feel that his face is just inches away from my nape. "What do you want?" I scowled at him, turning around to face him. "To finish what we started," he said while moving his face towards me. "That was a mistake," I insisted, moving my face away from him when he started to lower down his face. He was stunned with what I said. It was as if he suddenly realized something. He then started to remove his hands on my side and stood up straight. He looked at me for a moment as if he's reading my mind. I tried to look away from his eyes, afraid of what he could read through it. "Yeah, this is a mistake," he said before walking out of the kitchen. I didn't realize that I was actually holding my breath. I let out a sigh of relief when he finally left the kitchen. Chapter 10. Gary. I continued making the sandwich after Lucas left. I took a deep breath and gathered my thoughts before I continued making my dinner. I was hesitant if I should make one for Lucas or not, but decided to pursue the former. I finished eating mine, then cleaned up the kitchen a little bit before deciding to go back to our room. I know that he's going to sleep in his study room since that's the setup we agreed on. I went upstairs and went straight to his study room to bring him his sandwich. 3 times, but no one is answering. I was thinking that maybe he's already sleeping, but I tried to knock one more time. Still, no one answered. I tried to turn the knob and look inside. I frowned when I found the room empty. There's no sign of anyone in there. My eyes slowly widen with the thought that he might be in our room. I quickly walked towards our room. I abruptly opened the room and I was greeted by the scent of his favorite body wash. I saw him standing right outside the door of the bathroom wearing nothing but his pants that's made up of pure Supima cotton. He's drying his hair using a small towel. He lifted his head and looked directly into my eyes. I was disappointed when he immediately withdrew his eyes from me. He walked past me and went straight to the couch on the other side of the room. My eyes landed on the laptop and papers that were on top of a small table in front of the couch. It was as if he created his little office inside the room. He even moved the lampshade to his table that was on top of the bedside table. I let out a small chuckle when I realized why he did that. He still remembers that I can't sleep with lights on. He turned his face in my direction and he frowned when he saw me smiling. What, he asked while frowning. I don't want Nana to think that we are avoiding each other, he said when he realized what I was looking at. I'll sleep in the study room if Nana stops being suspicious of us, he explained. I don't mind if you stay here. You can sleep on the couch, I answered. I walked briskly towards him before the small plate containing the sandwich on his table. I made a sandwich for two. You can throw it away if you don't want it, I told him before quickly turning my back on him. It didn't take me a few steps before I heard him say something. You do know that nothing is going on with me and Sandy when we're still together, right? He said, referring to the argument we had in the kitchen. I froze upon hearing what he said. I turned my face on him, but his eyes are still on his laptop. What did you say? I asked him, even though I heard him clearly the first time. He slowly turned his face towards me and looked me intently in the eye. Sandy and I, we're not a thing when we're still married. She's never my mistress and I never cheated on you, he added. Why are you telling me this now? Isn't it too late for that? I said, not knowing what to feel exactly. I heard him let out a loud sigh. Yeah, you're right, he answered, dismissing the topic. I'm not sure why, but I suddenly felt irritated by the way he handles the conversation. It was as if he wanted to say something but decided not to. Stop doing that, I exclaimed. Doing what he said calmly. He didn't even bother by my sudden outburst, explaining something, but instead of having clarification, you tend to leave more questions than answers, I frantically said. What do you want me to say? He calmly answered. Tell me everything. Explain to me what you mean by what you just said. My voice is escalating as with my breathing. That Sandy is never my mistress. It wasn't really a question but a confirmation. It is what it is, Gary. There's no more explanation needed. She was never my mistress and I never cheated on you, he answered, which makes me frown even more. Why are you only telling me this now? I know I sound like a broken record for repeating everything that I said, but I'm desperate to know the truth. I already told you this before, Gary. But you never listened, he answered. Why now? I was hysterical and I don't know the reason why. Why not the night after our last fight or the first year after our divorce? Why now? I was not really sure what answer I was looking for. I wanted to bombard him with so many questions, but I'm not really sure if I was ready to hear the truth. Would you listen to me if I did? I was stunned by what he said. You're not listening with anything other than the sound of your own voice. Even if I explained it to you back then, you wouldn't even hesitate to accuse me of what you thought I did. He remained calm upon telling me those things. I hate to admit, but he's right. I know that I wouldn't listen to him. I would still push what I think is right. I don't believe you. That's the only answer I could think of. You never did, he said with sorrow in his eyes. I'm out for words. I don't really know what to say. Did I doubt him that much? I tried to open my mouth and answer him, but no words came out of it. I suddenly felt guilty. Lucas was never a perfect husband, but so was I. We had our own troubles, and instead of fixing it together, I decided to put all the blame on him. I always thought that I'm the only one who suffered from our marriage, that I'm the only one who felt suffocated, but now I realized that I'm not the only one who's hurting. I wanted to comfort him and tell him that's okay, but I know that it isn't. Nothing is okay since I saw him kissing Sandy that day. My thoughts of comforting him vanished and thin air the moment I remember that day. Just like that, I'm back to my old self, always doubting myself if I'm doing the right thing or not. I never wanted to go back to the way I was before. I decided to leave the heated conversation and went inside the bathroom. I needed something that would separate me from his overpowering presence. I locked the door and slowly slid my back against it before slumping my butt on the floor. Stream of tears started to flow down my cheeks. I'm not sure why I am hurting right now. It feels like all the bad memories keep coming back and it's drowning me. I stood up and slowly took off all my clothes and get in the shower. I turned on the shower before I sat down on the bathtub and pulled both of my legs tightly close to my body in a fetal position. I let out all my frustrations and anger and let myself be drowned with my own tears. I didn't know how long I would stay there. I just heard a soft knock from the door before I heard Lucas speaking from the other side of the door. "Gary, are you okay?" I heard him ask, but I don't have any strength to speak up. I heard him knock once more, but this time it sounds stronger than he did before that. I can sense the panic in his knock before he came. I heard him shout before abruptly opening the door of the bathroom. I don't know how he did that. I'm not sure if he used his key or I forgot to. I heard him utter when he saw me sitting on the bathtub while the wind from the shower against my skin. He quickly turned off the shower and immediately took a towel before wrapping it around my body. Still, I was unable to make any move or speak anything. I feel paralyzed. That's why I didn't protest when he lifted me and carried me to bed. After drying me with the towel, he put me on a bathrobe before laying me down on the bed. He was calm and collected while attending me. He was about to go back to the couch after he was dead when I reached out for his hand. Confusedly looked at me before realizing what I want even without me speaking. I don't want him to go, just for tonight. I want to feel the warmth of his embrace once again. I want to let myself feel the heat that I always sleep beside him. I climbed up to the bed and lay down. Night. I want to forget everything. I answered, even if I don't know what it is that he's about. I closed my eyes, trying to rest. When Lucas' hand was starting to roam around my body, I quickly opened my eyes when I felt his hand caressing my stomach. I held my breath when it started to travel up to my breast. Not because I'm letting you sleep beside me doesn't mean that your hands are free to roam around, I said, not turning my face to him. I know his face is only inches away from mine and turning around will definitely cause our faces to touch. I heard him chuckle against my shoulder. "What? I'm not doing anything," he shamelessly denied. I can feel his smile against my shoulder. "Really, Lucas?" I told him. I heard him chuckle. "I'm just checking if you're okay now," he said without any effort of removing his hand on my waist. "I think you're not okay. I might need to check you more." "Let's see," he said. I wasn't expecting what he did next. He grabbed my shoulder, forcing me to lay on my back while he's pinning both of my hands against my frantic by his sudden aggressiveness. "Checking up on you," he said while flashing his boy next door smile that could wet any girl's underwear. His free hands started to touch my waist down to my legs. He effortlessly separated my legs so he can settle his body in between them. I wanted to struggle and stop him from what he's doing, but I know I just